Hey guys, Donna Lynn here. So I started sharing the other day about my journey with alcohol and alcohol addiction and sobriety and recovery. So I wanted to tack on to that today because I also shared in my stories the other day about how I have experienced anxiety and depression, 2 bouts of depression throughout my life. So I just wanted to touch on a couple of those pieces. So one thing I noticed personally, so my last video, just to recap about opening up about alcohol, is that I wasn't ready to talk about my journey with alcoholism until I was on the other side, like when I was on the side of recovery and sobriety. So I wasn't ready and able to speak to that yet. So that was the very quick recap of my last video. And then, so today I wanted to just quickly chat about how I've also experienced a lot of anxiety in my life, and especially in my adult life. So it's possible I experienced it in my childhood, but I really didn't, I wasn't aware of it and I didn't notice it. So I can't speak to that piece right now. So what I did notice was when I started to get sober, every time I do these videos, I have internet issues. I'm not sure why. I might have to just hop on my stories and share some of this. So what I noticed when I quit drinking was that my anxiety would flare up really badly, and that would be one of my triggers to drink. And my anxiety would flare up really badly at random points. Like, it wasn't always linear and it didn't always make sense. There wasn't always an event or something that totally triggered it. Sometimes it was just, usually it was my thoughts. And so I started digging into that a little bit more. And what I discovered is I had a lot of inner work to do. I've been on a self-discovery, personal development journey since my early 20s, and going through alcoholism was a part of that journey. So I'm super grateful for it, but it was a huge part of that journey and a huge part of the deepening the connection with myself and discovering more about me and what I truly need. By the way, I was in the middle of breakfast and I was super inspired to come on and chat with you guys today. So here I am. So there have been a few things that have supported me, is what I kind of wanted to chat about today. So there's a few things that have really supported me in managing my anxiety, in managing that trigger for alcoholism, and has guided me down the self-discovery, personal development path in different directions. So recently, I actually have worked through a book called It Didn't Start With You, which is a book that helps you work through and identify familial patterns, but also familial traumas that perhaps you haven't even ever experienced. They're just passed down through your lineage. So that book was super pivotal in me shifting and letting go of some really deep-rooted stuff that wasn't even truly mine. I was holding it and I was carrying it, but I actually didn't even, it wasn't even mine truly. It wasn't things I'd experienced that impacted me. It was family stuff, lineage stuff that was passed along through my genetics. So that was a super, super interesting book to work my way through. As well, I try to move, I try to do yoga, I try to go for hikes, I've been doing half marathon training that I've been really botched the last couple weeks because of travel and fatigue and that type of thing, so I'm looking to get back at it, but I try to move my body regularly, get fresh air, do those types of things, but really digging into the personal development stuff and really being very conscious and aware of the anxiety that comes up and when and where. And so and then also my physical health. So I've been taking health supplements that focus on brain and cognitive health. I've been focusing on taking supplements that support digestive and gut health, because 70% of our serotonin is created in our gut. And so is, I don't know what percentage, so don't quote me on this, but I know that also GABA and melatonin are huge obviously in our health, but they're also created in our gut. So I've also recently just learned, so all these little tidbits for you, I've also recently learned that majority of people who have mental health, like anxiety, depression, things that I've experienced, so please know I'm just speaking from personal experience. This is a general statement. It's not end all be all. Majority of people who have mental health concerns or diseases often have gut health issues too. So that for me was a massive realization. And so I've recently just added I've actually adjusted the supplements that I'm taking and adjusted I guess I'll call them supplements. And I'll share in the comments what those are that have helped support my journey, and I'll share the name of the book, and I'll share the movements that I do, specifically because they've been very helpful for me. So I'll share them in the event that they're helpful for you too. So I really wanted to touch kind of on those three pieces, how alcohol addiction actually made my anxiety much more severe. It actually caused me to spiral down into an iron and B12 deficiency, where I was on the verge of, my ferritin stores were 7 and they should be closer to 100 for women. So I was on the verge of needing iron infusions, and I know many of you women out there can relate to that. I know many of you women can relate to anxiety and depression and pressures, and we all have various triggers, but essentially that feeling of not enoughness perpetuates, and that feeling of having to do it all the time by ourselves perpetuates the anxiety and the depression and the feelings of not enoughness, and then it's a spiral, right? So moving through the personal development work that I've done as well has really helped me to connect with who I am and learn to accept and love myself as I am, flaws and all, because, we all have our own version of crazy, and I certainly have mine. Without a doubt, I will not deny that. Ask my husband, he will tell you. So just know that it doesn't matter what your version of health, mental health, crazy, challenge, not enoughness, gut health, any of those things. It doesn't matter where you're at with any of it. You can find a way to learn to accept it in yourself, and that acceptance will be absolutely pivotal for your mental health and anxiety and depression and all those types of things. Because the other piece, last piece I'll speak to, is how I would often get caught in my own thoughts, and I still have a tendency to do this. I have to catch myself when it happens, but I have a tendency to get in this like revolving thoughts where they just cycle, and I have a really hard time breaking that cycle, that thought pattern. And so I've become really aware that that's like the starting point of my downward spiral into a bit of a depression or anxiety or a panic attack, something like that. And so I've become really aware of those types of things. And now I'm far from the end of my journey, because I don't think any of these things are ever going to end. However, I am at a shifting point where I've pivoted my health, where most days I don't have anxiety anymore. Most days I feel well. Most days I am aware of those cycles and patterns arising. Now, I can't always mitigate them and I can't always interrupt them, but I'm aware of them. And so I'm at a shifting point. And I think that shifting point is also what's helping me to want to share now, because I feel like I'm in a position to share my story and share my experiences. And with any luck, that will be supportive and helpful if you're on a similar journey. So, okay, that's what I have for you guys today. I'll share some of this in my stories, and then I will also share in the comments the changes that I've made, specifically the actual tangible changes I have made that have shifted my mental health, that have supported me to stay away from alcohol use, and have helped support my inner work and personal development. Okay, guys, have a beautiful, beautiful day. Love you.